Hello, good morning. We are today on day 20 of our book reading session, and our today's chapter is Use Goals to Help You Grow, right? And this is another important read. And mind you, we are on chapter 12, and in this book, there are total 13 chapters. So, 4 more days to go, and we will be done with this book. So, kudos to all of you. We are going to finish our second book in July. So in June, we did the first book that was Magic of Thinking Big, and this is going to be our second book. So I want you to start thinking which is the next book you want to read along and share in the comment that this should be the next book we should pick up, right? So that we understand that okay, this is the book that we need to pick up next month. Definitely, we will take a break for 2 3 days before we start the next book reading, but we should start thinking which one should be our next book. What is it that we want to develop, right? So, yes, with this, let's start reading our book. And can somebody confirm if the page is visible? Yeah. Thank you for confirming it's visible. So, chapter 12, use goals to help you grow. Every bit of human progress, our inventions, big and little, our medical discoveries, our engineering triumphs, our business success, were first visualized before they became realities. Baby moons circle the Earth not because of accidental discoveries, but because scientists set conquer space as a goal. A goal is an objective, a purpose. A goal is more than a dream, it's a dream being acted upon. A goal is more than a hazy, oh, I wish I could. A goal is a clear, this is what I am working toward. Nothing happens. No forward steps are taken until a goal is established. Without goals, individuals just wander through life. They stumble along, never knowing where they are going, so they never get anywhere. Goals are as essential to success as air is to life. No one ever stumbles into success without a goal. No one ever lives without air. Get a clear fix on where you want to go. Dave Mahoney rose from a low paying job in the mailroom of an advertising agency to an agency vice president at 27 and president of the Good Humor Company at 33. This is what he says about goals. The important thing is not where you are or where you are, but where you want to get. Okay. The important thing is not where you were or where you are, but where you want to get. The Progressive Corporation plans company goals 10 to 15 years ahead. Executives who manage leading businesses must ask, where do we want our company to be 10 years from now? Then they gauge their efforts accordingly. New plant capacity is built not for today's need but rather for needs 5 to 10 years in the future. Research is undertaken to develop products that won't appear for a decade or longer. The modern corporation does not leave its future to chance, should you? Each of us can learn a precious lesson from the forward looking business. We can and should plan at least 10 years ahead. You must form an image now of the person you want to be 10 years from now, if you are to become that image. This is a critical thought. Just as the business that neglects to plan ahead will be just another business, if it even survives. The individual who fails to set long range goals will most certainly be just another person lost in life's shuffle. Without goals, we cannot grow. Let me share with you an example of why we must have long run goals to achieve real success. Just last week, a young man, let me call him FB, came to me with a career problem. FB looked well mannered and intelligent. He was single and had finished college 4 years ago. We talked for a while about what he was doing now, his education, his aptitudes, and general background. Then I said to him, "You came to see me for help on making a job change. What kind of job are you looking for?" "Well," he said, "that's what I came to see you about. I don't know what I want to do." His problem, of course, was a very common one. But I realized that just to arrange for the young man to have interviews with several possible companies would not help him. Trial and error is a pretty poor way to select a career with dozens of career possibilities. The odds of stumbling into the right choice are several dozens to one. I knew I had to help FB see that before he starts going someplace career wise, he's got to know where the someplace is. So I said, "Let's look at your career plan from this angle. Will you describe for me your image of yourself 10 years from now?" FB, obviously studying the question, finally said, "Well, I guess I want what just about everyone else wants: a good job that pays well and a nice home. Really, though," he continued, "I haven't given it too much thought." This, I assured him, was quite natural. I went on to explain that his approach to selecting a career was like going to an air ticket counter and saying, "Give me a ticket." The people selling the tickets just can't help you unless you give them a destination. So I said, "And I can't help you find a job until I know what your destination is. And only you can tell me that." This jarred FB into thinking. We spent the next 2 hours not talking about the merits of different kind of job, but rather discussing how to set goals. FB learned, I believe, the most important lesson in career planning. Before you start out, know where you want to go. Like the Progressive Corporation, plan ahead. You are. You are, in a sense, a business unit. Your talent, skills, and abilities are your products. You want to develop your products so they command the highest possible price. Forward planning will do it. Here are two steps that will help. First, visualize your future in terms of three departments: work, home, and social. Dividing your life this way keeps you from becoming confused, prevents conflicts, helps you look at the whole picture. Second, demand of yourself clear, precise answers to these questions. What do I want to accomplish with my life? What do I want to be? And what does it take to satisfy me? Use the planning guide below to help. An image of me 10 years from now. 10 years planning guide. Guys, please make a note of this. This is very important, and we are going to do this for sure so that we reach somewhere. A. Work department. 10 years from now. First, what income level do I want to attain? Second, what level of responsibility do I seek? Third, how much authority do I want to command? Fourth, what prestige do I expect to gain from my work? B. Home department. 10 years from now. First, what kind of standard of living do I want to provide for my family and myself? Second, what kind of house do I want to live in? Third, what kind of vacations do I want to take? Fourth, what financial support do I want to give my children in their early adult years? C. Social department. 10 years from now? First, what kinds of friends do I want to have? What social groups do I want to join? What community leadership positions would I like to hold? What worthwhile causes do I want to champion? A few years ago, my young son insisted the two of us build a doghouse for Peanut, an intelligent pup of dubious pedigree, and my son's pride and joy. His persistence and enthusiasm won. So we proceeded to build a home Peanut could call her own. Our combined carpentry talent equaled zero. And the end product clearly reflected the fact. Shortly afterward, a good friend stopped by and, upon seeing what we had done, asked, "What's that you are stuck up there among the trees? That's not a doghouse, is it?" I replied that it was. Then he pointed out just a few of our mistakes and summed it all up with, "Why didn't you get a plan? Nobody these days builds a doghouse without a blueprint." And please, as you visualize your future, don't be afraid to be blue sky. People these days are measured by the size of their dreams. No one accomplishes more than he sets out to accomplish. So visualize a big future. Below is a word for word excerpt from the life plan of one of my former trainees. Read it. Note how well this fellow visualized his home future. As he wrote this, it is obvious he really saw himself in the future. My home goal is to own a country estate. The house will be of the typical southern manor type, two stories, white columns, and all. We will have the grounds fenced in, and probably will have a fish pond or two on the place as my wife and I both enjoy fishing. We will keep our Doberman kennels back of the house somewhere. The thing I have always wanted is a long, winding driveway with trees lining each side. But a house is not necessarily a home. I'm going to do everything I can do to make our house more than just a place to eat and sleep. Of course, we do not intend to leave God out of our plans, and throughout the years, we will spend a certain amount of time in church activities. 10 years from now, I want to be in a position to take a family cruise around the world. I would like very much to do this before the family gets scattered all over the world by marriages, etc. If we can't find time to make the cruise all at once, we will put it into 4 or 5 separate vacations and visit a different part of the world each year. Naturally, all these plans in home department depend on how well things go in my work department. So, I will have to keep on the half on the ball if I am to accomplish all this. This plan was written 5 years ago. The trainee then owned 2 small dime stores. Now he owns 5, and he has purchased 17 acres of his country estate. He's thinking and progressing right along toward his goal. The 3 departments of your life are closely interrelated. Each depends on the others to some extent. But the one department that has the most influence over the other department is your work. Thousands of years ago, the caveman who had the happiest home life and was most respected by his cave mates was the fellow who was most successful as a hunter. As a generalization, the same point holds true today. The standard of living we provide our families and the social and community respect we attain depends largely on our success in the work department. Not long ago, the McKinsey Foundation for Management Research conducted a large scale study to determine what it takes to become an executive. Leaders in business, Government, science, and religion were questioned over and over again in different ways. These researchers kept getting one answer. The most important qualification for an executive is the sheer desire to get ahead. Remember this advice of John Wanamaker. A man is not doing much until the cause he works for possesses all there is of him. Desire, when harnessed, is power. Failure to follow desire, to do what you want to do most, paves the way to mediocrity. I recall a conversation with a very promising young writer on a college newspaper. This fellow had ability. If anyone showed promise for a career in journalism, it was he. Shortly before his graduation, I asked him, "Well, Dan, what are you going to do? Get into some form of journalism?" Dan looked at me and said, "Heck, no. I like writing and reporting very much, and I have had a lot of fun working on the college paper. But journalists are a dime a dozen, and I don't want to starve." I didn't see or hear from Dan for 5 years. Then, one evening, I chanced to meet him in New Orleans. Dan was working as an assistant personal director for an electronics company, and he was quick to let me know that he was quite dissatisfied with his work. "Oh, I am reasonably well paid. I am with a wonderful company, and I have got reasonable security. But my heart isn't in it. I wish now I had gone with publisher or newspaper when I finished school." Dan's attitude reflected boredom, uninterest. He was cynical about many things. He will never achieve maximum success until he quits his present job and gets into journalism. Success requires a heart and soul effort. And you can put your heart and soul only into something you really desire. Had Dan followed his desire, he could have risen to the very top in some phase of communication. And over the long pull, he would have made much more money and achieved far more perfection than he will find in his present kind of work. Switching from what you don't like to do to what you do like to do is like putting a 500 horsepower motor in a 10-year-old car. All of us have desires. All of us dream of what we really want to do. But few of us actually surrender to desire. Instead of surrendering to desire, we murder it. Five weapons are used to commit success suicide. Destroy them. They are dangerous. First, self depreciation. You have heard dozens of people say, "I would like to be a doctor, or an executive, or a commercial artist, or in business for myself, but I can't do it. I lack brains. I would fail if I tried. I lack the education and or experience." Many young folks destroy desire with the old negative self-depreciation. Second, securities. Security-itis. Person who says, "I have got security where I am," use the security weapons to murder their dreams. Third, competition. The field is already overcrowded. People in that field are standing on top of each other, are remarks which kill desire fast. Fourth, parental dictation. I have heard hundreds of young people explain their career choice with, "I would really like to prepare for something else, but my parents want me to do this, so I must." Most parents, I believe, do not intentionally dictate to their children what they must do. What all intelligent parents want is to see their children live successfully. If the young person will patiently explain why he or she prefers a different career, and if the parent will listen, There will be no friction. The objectives of both the parent and the young person for the young person's careers are identical: success. Fifth, family responsibility. The attitude of it would have been wise for me to change over 5 years ago, but now I have got a family and I can't change illustrates this kind of desire murder weapon. Throw away those murder weapons. Remember, the only way to get full power, to develop full go force, is to do what you want to do. Surrender to desire and gain energy, enthusiasm, mental zip, and even better health. And it's never too late to let desire take over. The overwhelming majority of really successful people work much longer than 40 hours a week, and you don't hear them complain of overwork. Successful people have their eyes focused on a goal, and this provides energy. The point is this: energy increases, multiplies when you set a desired goal and resolve to work toward that goal. Many people, millions of them, can find new energy by selecting a goal and giving all they've got to accomplish that goal. Goals cure boredom. Goals even cure many chronic ailments. Let's probe a little deeper into the power of goals. When you surrender yourself to your desires, when you let yourself become obsessed with a goal, you receive the physical power, energy, and enthusiasm needed to accomplish your goal. But you receive something else, something equally valuable. You receive the automatic instrumentation needed to keep you going straight to your objective. The most amazing thing about a deeply entrenched goal is that it keeps you on course to reach your target. This isn't double talk. What happens is this: when you surrender to your goal, the goal works itself into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is always in balance. Your conscious mind is not, unless it is in tune with what your subconscious mind is thinking. Without full cooperation from the subconscious mind, a person is hesitant, confused, indecisive. Now, with your goal absorbed into your subconscious mind, you react the right way automatically. The conscious mind is free for clear, straight thinking. Let's illustrate this with two hypothetical persons. As you read on, you will recognize these characters among the real people you know. We'll call them Tom and Jack. These fellows are comparable in all respect except one. Has a firmly entrenched goal, Jack does not. Tom has a crystal clear image of what he wants to be. He pictures himself as a corporation vice president 10 years hence. Because Tom has surrendered to this goal, his goal through his subconscious mind signals to him saying, do this or don't do that. It won't help get you where you want to go. The goal constantly speaks: I am the image you want to make real. Here is what you must do to make me real. Tom's goal does not pilot him in vague generalities. It gives him specific directions in all his activities. When Tom buys a suit, a goal speaks and shows Tom the wise choice. The goal helps to show Tom what steps to take to move up to the next job, what to say in the business conference, what to do when conflict develops, what to read, what stand to take. Should Tom drift a little off course, his automatic instrumentation, housed securely in his subconscious mind, alerts him and tells him what to do to get back on course. Tom's goal has made him super sensitive to all the many forces at work that affect him. Jack, on the other hand, lacking a goal, also lacks the automatic instrumentation to guide him. He is easily confused. His actions reflect on personal policy. Jack wavers, shifts, guesses at what to do. Lacking consistency of purpose, Jack flounders on the rutty road to mediocrity. May I suggest you reread the above section right now? Jack, on the other hand, lacking on goal, also lacks the automatic instrumentation to guide him. He is easily confused. His actions reflect no personal policy. Jack wavers, shifts, guesses at what to do. Lacking consistency of purpose, Jack flounders on the rutty road to mediocrity. Let this concept soak in. Then look around you. Study the very top echelon of successful persons. Note how they, without exception, are totally devoted to their objective. Observe how the life of a highly successful person is integrated around a purpose. Surrender to that goal. Really surrender. Let it obsess you and give you the automatic instrumentation you need to reach that goal. Okay, so all right, we'll complete this. On occasion, all of us have waked up on Saturday mornings with no plans, no agenda, either mental or written, that spells out what we are going to do. On days like that, we accomplish next to nothing. We aimlessly drift through the day, glad when it's finally over. But when we face the day with a plan, we get things done. This common experience provides an important lesson. To accomplish something, we must plan to accomplish something. Before World War II, our scientists saw the potential power locked in the atom. But relatively little was known about how to split the atom and unleash the tremendous power. When the United States entered the war, forward looking scientists saw the potential power of an atomic bomb. A crash program was developed to accomplish just one goal: build an atomic bomb. The result is history. In just a few days, the concentrated effort paid off. The bombs were dropped and the war was ended. But without that crash program to accomplish a goal, splitting the atom would have been delayed perhaps a decade, maybe longer. Set goals to get things done. Our great production system would be hopelessly blocked down if production executives did not establish and adhere to target dates and production schedules. Sales executives know salesmen sell more when they are given a carefully defined quota to sell. Professors know students get term papers written on time when a deadline is set. Now, as you press forward to success, set goals, deadlines, target dates, self imposed quotas. You will accomplish only what you plan to accomplish. Okay, I think with this we will end the read for today and we'll continue with this chapter tomorrow. So, today we have a task. We need to set our goals on three fronts. What were those three fronts? One is your personal, second is work, and third is social. And we have those questions in hand. So, I would highly recommend today you set your goal, put a deadline to it, and give your brain the work. While I read this book, I have realized when we give our brain a task, the brain will figure out ways to do it. It will definitely figure out ways to do it. So please give it a goal. The brain will work towards achieving it. All right. So, with this, we end today's session and we'll see you tomorrow again. Bye bye.